it's TxStampin Sharon. Today's card might be familiar to some of you. As you watch my video and you have seen this card before, let me know in the comments below. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 23 years. I love learning and then teaching you how to make fabulous cards that are easy and fun. If you currently already don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to help you with your Stampin' Up! Supply needs. You can find out how to contact me below the video. Click the Read More button. There you can find out how to sign up for my newsletter, visit my blog, all kinds of good stuff down there. Let me show you my cards today. Some of you may recognize this card. If you know anything about my Mystery Monday stamping, you will know that I gave clues to make this card. On today's video, I'm going to dress it up just a little bit. I'm going to walk you through how I made it, and we're going to change it up. I'm using Prize Peony stamp set and the dies, specifically this die. I had not played with that yet. And then we're going to use this die and the leaf die. I have gray granite ink. I have metallic edged white ribbon. I have my Stampin' blends. I've got the light and the dark of the petal pink and the light and the dark of the gray granite. We're also going to bring in our Winkastella. I'm also going to be using the elegant faceted gems, just like I did on my card, but we're going to use different color. When I gave the clues for Mystery Monday stamping, I told them to have a piece of colored cardstock that was 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I told them to have 2 different pieces of Designer Series paper that was a different pattern. The larger piece is 3.5 by 5 inches. The smaller piece is 1 inch by 5 inches. I told them to have 2 pieces of Whisper White that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and they needed a piece of scrap Whisper White for the sentiment and the stamping of images. First, we're going to adhere our larger piece of Designer Series paper. To the top of our Whisper White layer. And I told them to add their 1 inch piece, but I took my piece to the die cutting machine, to the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, and I did this fun little border. Can y'all see the detail? Super fun. So it cut and embossed, just like the machine, cut and emboss. How fun. I'm going to place this right here. So I have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, but look how fun it made that scalloped edge. I told them to have a 6 inch piece of ribbon. Whenever I'm cutting ribbon, I just leave it on the bolt because it saves me tons of waste. I've pulled out my silicone mat because I'm going to add some adhesive. We're going to take and wrap our ribbon around. And a tip that I gave them on mystery stamping was Scotch tape works really well to hold that ribbon in place if you wanted to. Just going to add a little bit more adhesive to keep that down. Then we're going to add it to our card front. So pretty. We're going to add some more adhesive to the other piece of Whisper White, and then we're going to add it inside the card. Looking good so far. Now we're ready to do some stamping. I have my gray granite ink pad. And I have a scrap piece of regular Whisper White, and then I went ahead and grabbed the thicker Whisper White because I remembered we're going to be using the Stampin' blends. They work much better. They're smoother and everything when you use it on the thicker Whisper White. So I want to stamp some leaves. And then I will take that to my die cutting machine and I will cut it. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. On my first card, I used the Everyday Label Punch. For this one, I'm going to use the Story Label Punch. We're going to punch out the sentiment. Next, I'm going to stamp my flower, my peony. And I like to do the coloring while it's still on the whole scrap instead of cutting it and then trying to color it. You do want to make sure that the ink is dry. If you've ever heard anything about the alcohol Stampin' blends, the alcohol-based, you were told to use Memento in order to color with. You can use some of the other inks. Just remember that you need to touch lightly and don't do a whole lot of hard pressure because you could bleed the image. But with the lightness of what I'm using, the light colors, and I'm just going to quickly just color my peony. I love Mystery Monday stamping. If you have not joined me, I highly recommend that you give it a try. People are loving it. You use the supplies that you have on hand. I give you very generic clues, and then you join us and we stamp along live together. I use YouTube. I go on live every Monday at 4 p.m. on YouTube, and then I go live at noon on my business Facebook page. And it's just fun. We laugh, I make mistakes, they love me anyway. It's just amazing. It's the best thing I've ever done. Okay, so I'm going to take the lighter of the gray granite and I'm just going to start coloring on the inside of my flower. And then I want to take the barrel end and I want to give it some darkness. Just to kind of tidy it all, pull it all in. Just a different look. I'm going to go back to my barrel end of my lighter color and I'm just going to kind of blend some of that. This is very random where I placed the darker of the petal pink, but look at the shading. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just so fun and easy. There's no right or wrong way to use the Stampin' blends. I'm telling you, they're so fun. All right, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to cut everything out with my die cutting machine. So I pulled out my dimensionals. We're going to add them to the back of this, of our sentiment layer. And this time I'm going to add it over on this side. But when I gave them the clues, I told them to add their image on the bottom right and their sentiment on the left, on the top. But our card's going to be a little different. So on the back of my flower, I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive. And I'm going to grab my leaves. And we're going to hover over and we're going to place one there. Oh, I cut my nails and I can't pick anything up. All right, so then I just like to hover over because I don't want my leaf to go off the edge or anything. So this here. We're gonna grab our Wink of Stella. Did I ever tell y'all my dog's name is Stella? It's so funny. I always think of her when I say the word Wink of Stella. I couldn't decide if I wanted to leave the leaves white, not colored, like I colored them here, because there's so much whiteness in the Designer Series paper. I don't know. I'm still thinking. What do y'all think? I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it, and I'm just going to add the Wink of Stella. That'll give me a little bit of color, but not necessarily the gray granite. I really like that. It's really pretty. Probably doesn't look as pretty on the video, but trust me, it's pretty. All right, the last thing we want to do is add some elegant faceted gems. So this time I'm going to use the clear ones. I'm going to put one right there. And I'm going to put one right here. And I think I want to put one over here in the center of that flower. I hope that you can see, using the same measurements, changing things up, when you have a layout, just by simply moving some things around, you can make two totally different cards. If you've not already joined us for Mystery Monday Stamping, please join us. You can find the clues posted the day before on my blog or on my community tab on my YouTube channel, and go gather your supplies. That's the first clue. And then join us when we go live and make a card with us. Your card will look totally different than everybody else's because we don't know what stamp sets, Designer Series paper, colored cardstock. We don't know what you're using, but it's a lot of fun, I promise. Happy stamping, y'all.